Let's talk about making Zinzino your career. Hey guys, Randy Gage back. This session here, leadership only. Want to talk about this issue of going full time in the business. When would you do it? Why would you do it? What would it look like to do that? Let's talk about some of the issues, how you can better prepare yourself. And then we're going to do double duty with this session because you as leaders, of course, it's really important how you direct your team and the culture you create for your organization and the kind of counseling and guidance that you give the key people in your team when they're thinking about this really huge step in their Zinzino career. If you think about what we talked in the general session, we talked about the turning hope into belief. And that, of course, is the premise of my first circle book, that hope gets people into the business. Belief is what keeps them in the business. So they hope to win a bonus car, a free trip, a really big bonus check to earn those top ranks of director and diamond and walk across the stage with Hilda and Orion giving them awards and right. Hope gets them in. And then when they reach the point, when you reach the point where you say, I don't hope this is going to happen. I know this is happening. I see all the evidence. I can see what is happening with my career and the actual steps that I'm taking toward where I want to go. I see the proof this really is working. I am going to live my dreams with Zinzino. So that's the stage we would like to get everybody to, turning them from hope into belief. And that's where you get the retention in your organization, because nobody drops out of their business when they believe it's going to happen, right? It's just, this is how you stop the churn. This is how there's so many people in our business who they need hundreds of people to join their team every week to replace the hundreds that drop out every week. And that's not a scenario you want to be in. One of the great gifts of leadership in our profession, not all professions, but in our profession, one of the greatest gifts is the ability to steadily increase your earning potential in terms of how much of those earnings are passive income, right? Because of course we have residual income. You can build your network up to a level where you know, hey, I have X amount coming in every month. I've got a solid residual income. But you'd have a solid residual income if you had a paper route or you mowed the lawns of 10 different people every month in the summertime. Right? That's a residual. You know, you got 10 clients who are going to pay you 10 euros or 20 euros to mow their lawn, right? That's residual income, but it's not passive residual income, because if you're not out there mowing their lawns, they're not going to give you the 20 euros. However, in our business, we're building a customer base. We're building people on auto ship. So if you take some of your signature products, like the oil being one of them, the balance oil, it's astounding the level of of loyalty, of trust, of must have that people develop with your balance oil. I happened to be talking to, I can't remember who about it recently, and we were talking about products, health top products that we take, and I mentioned the balance oil. And I said, you know, I'm trying to think, but when Hilda and I actually first had a serious conversation about it, and I went on auto ship for that oil, and I'm thinking, I know it was at least 10 years ago. But maybe it was 15 years ago. I mean, I really can't remember. All I know is, it was a couple of presidential administrations ago. It was a long, long time. And I've had a credit card on file and got shipped that balance oil and the vitamins and some other things every month for years and years and years. So there is certainly, now Hilda is a shining example of a beautiful, amazing distributor who looks after her customers, checks in on me. Hey, how are things going? And, let's, hey, we just got your new test back. Let's look at this. Maybe we want to do this or maybe we want to do that, right? But she's built an astounding degree of passive residual income because months at a time, there's no need for her to check in on anything for me. Because I know the product, I adore the product, and I take it literally every day of my life, right? So that's one of the things we see in our business that you don't see in all businesses. Some of them are, if you've got Netflix or Hulu or one of the TV streaming services, there are examples like that. Netflix isn't coming to my house every day and checking on, am I happy with the new shows they're developing? They don't call me and ask what kind of their next movie should be, right? But they also know they got a credit card on file from me, and I've been streaming with them back since the days when it was DVDs. So it's really a beautiful scenario where the better you build it initially, the more you're going to create passive residual income. So we work a little harder at the beginning, building that customer base, servicing them, really building that connection, that affinity with the products where people are just evangelical proponents of them, right? So that's where we want to start. So let's look at the rewards of going full time. That's a good thing to begin the discussion about because I think in terms of return on investment, that ratio of income to effort, the return on investment in direct selling is magnificent. So it really is a real win in terms of the ability to build a foundation, create an ongoing income, and then reap the rewards of that without having to redo the work all the time, right? So we develop that solid customer base, and then we find the key people who would like to build the business. We work with them, we train them, we plug them into the system. We say, how do we automate? How do we systematize? How do we scale? We have a structured presentation. We have a structured new member orientation, a structured training event and recruiting event stuff. All those things are organized and made as systemic as possible, which gives us that great payoff of passive, a higher percentage of passive income. And it's not all passive, and don't let anybody tell you that it is, right? There's a lot of hype in our space, right? We know that some people get a little too exuberant, a little too excited, but it is, we still work. We still service the customer client base. We still train our new distributors. We create and keep the system operational. So we're doing things to ensure a wonderful onboarding experience for all of the customers and ongoing customer support. And then that real partnership with the team where we're helping those people build their dreams and we're creating that infrastructure that makes it possible. The other thing is we're really practice leverage. So when you go full time into the business, you're going to experience some of the most amazing leverage that you could ever ask for, because this is where, and this is the magic part of certain businesses, right? When Lady Gaga can write her songs and J.K. Rowling can write her books, and they do the job once and then they're streamed and reprinted over and over. That's leverage, right? If we look at the greatest wealth creation in the world, it's 99% of the time, it's people who are able to apply some aspect of leverage to their business. And there's a tremendous ability here in Zinzino and direct selling in general to escape trading hours for money. Leverage, true leverage, which is where wealth is created. Because the other thing about that leverage is once you really build the engine, and that's why we're talking about going full time in the business, making Zinzino your career, is because then you can take that income that you develop and you say, I can invest that in real estate. I can invest that in equities. I can invest that in the blockchain, certain cryptocurrency, whatever the case may be. You can leverage your leverage because the difference between poor people and wealthy people, for the most part, poor people work for money. Wealthy people have their money work for them. So when you go full-time in our business and you develop a solid high income, you're able to take part of that money and put it to work for you. So now we're getting leverage upon our leverage. We couldn't talk about going full-time without talking about the relationships, the partnership you develop with the key people in your sponsorship line, the key people at the company. I have known Zinzino since its very first minute, because of course I knew Urian and Hilda and Jans before Zinzino, and I saw when Zinzino started. So I've had a front row seat to everything that happens there. And all I can tell you, it starts with dog at the top. You have a culture of amazing people who have true passion, true commitment to you, to your success, to doing the right thing, to doing the business with integrity and loving life. So those award trips that you go on, and I've been on a few of them and I have so many dear friends in the field at leadership with Zinzino. You know how amazing that those relationships can be. And the last thing I think we should look at when we talk about making a career with this is getting to the point where you move from success to significance. There's a lot of ways you can make money. There are a lot of ways that our culture would define you as successful, right? So there's a lot of people chasing some pretty superficial things, chasing net worth amounts, right? At some point, when it goes back and forth between Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, who is the wealthiest human being on earth, it's like, what is the point of that? Both of those guys have so many billions of dollars that it isn't even relevant. So that's not a element. It's not a barometer that you really want to chase after. How many people follow you on Twitter? How many likes you get on your Facebook post? You can look at the Kardashians and say they're so successful. They have so many people follow them on Instagram or whatever. But is that going to get you out of bed in the morning? Is that really when you're on your deathbed and you're looking back on your life, are you really going to say, man, I got to X amount of Instagram followers? Or you're going to talk about the people, the moments that mattered. So when you build a career with Zinzino, you're doing something significant. Because first of all, you're helping the world create better health, and you're helping your team live their dreams. You're doing work that matters, right? Everything goes down to the products that you get to the end consumer, to the difference that makes in their health and their wellness. And with the team, it's about building that income, building that self-discipline, that self-respect that they get from being their own boss, creating a team, building that big customer base, and turning it into, and not everybody's going to do a career, right? This is why we're doing this as the leadership session and not in the general session where I spoke to you about the other stuff. Because not everybody in your team wants to go full-time in the business, right? There are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people who look in our business as a side gig, as a second income, as a way to just sock aside some extra money for their kids' college fund or their annual vacation trip. And we love that for them. And we don't need to, judge them whether they decide that they want to be full-time or not. That's a choice. And that's the beautiful thing about the business is everybody gets to do it at the level that they want to, right? So the fact that because let's be real, what some of the directors and diamonds are making with the company, right? These are life transformational amounts of money. And it's a wonderful thing. But we know there's thousands of other people that don't reach those levels because they're not looking as a career for that. They have a career, and that career may be a homemaker, right? They may be a father or mother who decides to stay home and raise their children. And we help them do part of that because they can build a residual income doing this part-time from home. A student, a retired person, a homemaker, right? All those options are on the table for everybody, what they want to do. And the fact that you have the model, the business model that allows them to do that, that's something really, really special. All right, so those are lots of great reasons why I'm encouraging you to really look at this, to evaluate your business. Where are you at up to the point with this event? What's your rank? What's your income? And where do you want to go next? What do you see 2 years from now? What do you see 10 years from now? Where would you want to be 25 years from now? So think about that and think about that maybe it's time for you to get really serious and build that full-time career with Cincino. So first, a cautionary note. Don't jump the gun. The biggest mistake I see in this business is people try to live out of the business too early. Please don't make that mistake yourself. And please don't allow people on your team to make that really, it can be just deadly to their dreams mistake. Any business takes investment. You want to get a McDonald's or a Burger King or a Kentucky, some of those fast food franchises are literally $1 million investment. You'll see people spend that kind of money and basically buy themselves a minimum wage job sometimes. A dry cleaner, a retail shop. I mean, we're talking about tens of thousands of euros investment or hundreds of thousands of euros or millions of dollars worth or euros worth of investment. Look at our business. It's a pittance, right? We've made the business model affordable to anyone and everyone. I mean, people who literally don't have 100 euros to their name could get started with Cincino, go out there, develop 5 customers, develop 10 customers, take those retail profits, put them back into business and grow to a lifetime career with Cincino. They don't need college degrees. They don't need experience. They don't need a big investment, right? That's one of the brilliant things about the business. So that great benefit can turn into not benefit if you try to live out of the business too early. Because Yes, anybody could start. Like I say, somebody who didn't have 100 euros to their name, they could set up a Encino business and get going and create a viable income readily and quickly. But to reach the level of 50,000 euros a month, 75,000 euros a month, those leaders who are at that level and above, they have invested in their business. So they have been smart with their money. They've paid down their debt. They've taken the money that comes in each month from their business in the formative years and reinvested it back into the business. So they don't try, because here's the thing. When you join the business and you're going to talk to your friends about joining the business, they're going to come up against a shocking reality, which is to grow the business on Tuesday night, they're going to have to turn off Netflix or network television. And they're going to have to be on a Zoom call or out at an event or chatting with customers, some kind of action for the business. And not everybody's willing to do that, right? And they're like, well, one of those things, yeah, here, there's lots of those things. It's like Amway and them, and, only the people at the top make the money, and you got to have money to make money, and all these defeatist excuses that they're programmed with that they don't even know they have. So they're going to apply that all to you when you talk to them, but they're going to watch you. They're going to watch how you live. They're going to watch what happens with you, right? I was doing a Zoom meeting for the chapter of the National Speakers Association here in Florida about 2 months ago. And so there was we were still doing it virtually because of COVID, but there was about 8 of us that were on before the meeting started, which was they had like the board of directors of the association were on, and they were chatting up with me before the meeting started, and all the members were coming on. And so there was a gal named Heidi on there. And so she was, who I've known for 20 years now. She's been a longtime member of the association. And so we were chatting before the meeting. She said, so Randy, whatever happened to that deal that Billy Looper was in your team and he approached me about it? Remember, we talked about it. Did anything ever happen with that deal? And I said, oh, you mean Agile, that company with the gels? She said, yeah, that thing. Did anything ever happen with that? How did you guys do with that? I said, well, I'm kind of grateful that I did it because I made more than $10 million from Agile in earnings. And it was like I dropped a bomb on this group. People were just mind blown, right? And but that happens all the time. People say to me, hey, remember a couple of years ago you talked to me? How is it? And I'm able to answer that way, right? All of your friends and family and acquaintances, they're watching you the same way. They're, even whether they said they want to join, they don't want to join, they're thinking about joining, they're still watching you because that seed is planted in the back of their mind. Let me just see how she does with this. Let's see if this thing is for real. And if you make 50,000 or 40, let's say 40,000 euros working for the airline or the corporate world or something, and then you do Encino and you're talking to people, they're watching you, right? They're watching your lifestyle. And what people want to do, of course, is so many people want to leave their job. I mean, the number of people who are unhappy with their jobs it's crazy, the percentage, right? So if they're making 40,000 at whatever the job, as soon as they would get to 40,000 a year in Encino, they would quit their job because they replaced their income. But meanwhile, all the people who are watching them, how's this going to work? They don't see any difference in your life, right? Driving the same kind of car, living in the same kind of house, going on the same kind of vacations, wearing the same kind of jewelry, right? But if you kept your job at 40,000 euros and you built up to 40,000 euros with Encino annual, just in a year, 40,000 euros. but you paid down your credit cards, you paid off your car, you reinvested in the business, and now all of a sudden, Zinzino, now you're out of debt. Now you quit your job, but you're making more with Zinzino than you used to make with your job. And because you've invested in the business, that income will grow. And then maybe it's $80,000 a year and you've doubled your standard of living. Then it's 120,000 euros a year. You've tripled your standard of living. Now the people on the bench watching you, you are driving different cars. You're living in a different kind of house. You have different kind of vacation. You're wearing better jewelry, whatever the case may be. They say, wow, there really is something there. So don't fall prey to the first instinct, which is, okay, as soon as I replace my income with Zinzino, I can dump my job, because that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is don't live out of the business until you've grown it sufficiently. Build a viable cash flow and erase your debt. I want you to, really be counsel with your sponsorship line about that. Okay. Here's what the end. Well, actually, I'll jump a little more specifically into that in a minute. But let me go to the next point that I want to make really clear as a vital one. I want you to be the test case patient for Zinzino. Now, I'm using the word patient as an analogy, right? You're not, we don't want you prescribing and diagnosing the Zinzino products, right? It's not about that. But I'm saying, like when they do a test, if there's a new medicine, a new protocol, there would be a test patient, right? You see some doctor invents a cure for something and they inject themselves and they become the test patient because they have this incurable disease and they're going to test if this cure works, right? I want you to be the test case for wellness. Because Zinzino is a wellness company. So if necessary, redefine your lifestyle to be congruent with that. The great thing, and I've been in this business now for 42 years, so I've really seen this progression, because virtually all of those 42 years, I've been with health/wellness companies. Why? I don't know. I think it's just congruent with my philosophy about living. I believe in natural, healthy lifestyle, eating good, exercising, playing sports, taking care of yourself as best you can. So I don't know. I've been in that kind of company. And I just see so many times people will be attracted to our companies because of the money that they can make, because they're chasing after success, not even significance. They're just chasing after success. And they see a lot of successful people in our business. And so they want part of that. And they come in to make money, but becoming healthy is the result that they wouldn't have chosen. Right? You got to understand, there's just people that they're drinking 10 diet sodas a day. They're smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. They haven't exercised in a decade, right? They're not going to be excited about the wellness message of Zinzino, many of them, because that's just a belief that they don't have. They just think this is how you go through life, is you put on an extra 5 to 10 pounds every decade. And by the time you're 50 or 60, you're on 10 or 12, 15 prescription drugs a day. And that's just how it is, right? But if they get exposed to Zinzino and take the products, they become aware of what it means to get to your ideal weight, to have energy, to approach, have this whole different philosophy of life, of wellness. So maybe you're one of those people. I'm not calling out anyone in this meeting. I'm saying you think about it yourself and ask yourself that question. Are you the test case patient for the philosophy of wellness that Encino is really about. So if necessary, because if you want to be a career, right, you want to make this your career, you should be a healthy person to be congruent with your business. So if necessary, redefine your lifestyle to be congruent. The next thing I would say is to create your personal growth agenda. Counsel with your sponsor on this. Talk to, if you have a couple of people, one or two people who love you and want the best for you, who love you enough to be honest with you, to tell you the truth, to say, hey, I want to create a personal development program. My goal is to become the highest possible version of myself. I would just like that, by the time I leave this earth, I would like to know that the world was a better place because I was here for a while. So it's nice, the cars and the money and the trips and everything, but I'm moving from success to significance. So what's stopping me? What do I need to work on myself that's keeping me from that highest possible version of myself? And get that kind of real world advice from people who care about you, and then set up your self-development program. That's the transformation for me. I love being able to drop that little, I made $10 million with it. And unfortunately, the company sold to new owners and I wasn't congruent with those owners. So I left the business. But meanwhile, I made more than $10 million with that. So it was a pretty cool thing for me, right? I love that, being able to tell those kind of stories. But what I really love is that this business introduced me to self-development and personal growth, which I didn't even know that field existed, right? But we're just blessed that that's kind of baked into the cake of what we do. But so I'm saying, you're going to go full-time in the business, I'm going to suggest you be really mindful about that and really set the agenda. Okay, what's my word for the rest of this year? Then what's my word for 2022? What is the growth that I want to concentrate on in 2022? And do that really mindfully. Then go next step further. Again, conversation with your sponsor or sponsorship line, and select your rank goal. Because there are certain amounts of income that can't be reached at certain ranks. So when you say, hey, I want to make this a career, I want to go full-time in the business, you need to know, what does that really look like? How many euros or dollars a month is the income that would give you that freedom that we were talking about, that amazing return on investment in terms of the effort involved and the money that you earn back, the freedom and the security that it provides you. What does that look like? And then we want to take that, and again, this is why a conversation with the sponsorship line, to say, okay, well, what is the rank in the Encino compensation plan that will allow you to do that? So now we have a goal that we can shoot for. Now, this is an aspirational goal, right? Because you don't control rank goals, right? You can't say, okay, my goal is to be director by November 1st and have total control over that, because you need certain people to get certain ranks and they all have to hit their own barometers and qualify at their ranks, right? You don't control a goal like that. You control activity goals. So you got to do kind of a two-step process, which is counseling with your sponsor and, okay, here's the level I want to get to. And then what rank does that take? And then what kind of activity will I need to produce to have a realistic shot of attaining that goal? And that leads us to the next point on there, which is mindfully manage your planner, right? your calendar or your planner, right? Yeah, right. Because if you determine that your goal is 50,000 euros a month or 100,000 euros a month, whatever it is, you're going to know, okay, here's the rank I would need to get to with Encino to achieve that. And then you would know, well, what does that look like? Because one of the things we do, like when I talked about that process of keeping your job, reinvesting into the business as you're doing that, right? So everybody starts 10, 12 hours a week, part-time in the business. And then of course they want to quit the job, but your job as a leader, and hopefully your leaders above you will help the process with you, would say, hey, I know it's hard. I know it's a sacrifice, but I want you to go to 20 hours a week for your direct selling business and still keep your day job, that 40 or 50 hours a week that you're doing with that. I want you to keep that, and we're going to go extra. So you're going to need to have a conversation with your family and say, hey, I've been doing 2 nights a week in the business. I need to go to 3 nights a week in the business. Here's why, and here's how long. Because I want to get to the point where I've totally paid off all the credit card debt. We've got the car free, even the mortgage. I really encourage you, get your mortgage of your home paid off if you can. And so we're going to sacrifice for that I'll have less time for social things for a finite period of time, because we're going to buy our freedom. And so you may go to 10 hours a week, to 15 hours a week, to 25 hours a week, plus work 40, right? But it'll get to the point where you no longer need the 40. So that's why I say mindfully manage the planner, your time, the hours you dedicate to the business, and really make these productive hours, rainmaker activity. And then set a debt-free goal, a date when you will be debt-free. And again, mindfully do that. Okay, how much installment debt do I have? Do I have mortgage, car payment, college education money, whatever? What is our level of debt? What's the plan for paying that off and getting free? So again, and then I would like you to, I'm going to encourage you to build that debt-free culture with your team. Create that as a culture, that this is what we're about as an organization. We're not just a physical wellness company. We're a mental wellness company, because we're helping people escape from the bonds of debt and give them the clarity and the peace and the mental harmony of knowing that they're out of debt and they're able to provide for their loved ones. And then I want you to concentrate on 2 final things to kind of put this all together, because I know I'm kind of running up on my time here. And you got lots of other amazing information being done at this event. But I want you to diversify through long distance lines, right? Your business is, as you can't really see, and I don't want to shake the camera around, but I'm here in my place in Miami, and it's paradise. I love it here. But I can think back in the 90s, we had a Category 5 hurricane, dead hit here. And I went through that. I was in the roughest part of the storm. I thought the roof was going to blow off the house I was in. Just devastation. And some of you have seen this in other parts of the world. The Mexico City earthquake and other disasters like that come to mind. But I'm telling you, and I had a big team in Miami. And the place people used to work, those places didn't exist then. This was really, I'm trying to remember what year was Hurricane Andrew, but it was in the 90s. So we didn't, the internet was developing, but we didn't use the internet for the business. We were doing home meetings. We were doing hotel meetings. And I can tell you, there was nothing going on for 4 months. There were no hotel meetings. There were no home meetings. There was no mail delivery. There were, we had cell phones, but the cell towers were down. So people who didn't have a landline, some of you will have to Google that. What is a landline? If you didn't have a landline, you couldn't even do the business because the cell towers were all down. It was crazy for months. And if I hadn't diversified my income with people all over, I had people in all 50 United States, so I was able to survive. People who weren't diversified like that, they went out of business. So, and the thing with Encino is not only can you build long distance lines, which really creates security, but you can do long distance lines internationally. I see you just open India. I mean, you have great stuff going on. You're in a lot of countries around the world. So you can really diversify with long distance line, including internationally. And then the final thing that I wanted to speak about in terms of, it's just a continuation of this diversification and securing your business, is develop leadership. And my advice to everybody in the business, whether they want to make it a career or not, even if they want to do it part-time, but they want to build that solid residual income with a degree of passivity to it, is keep sponsoring until you have created at least 8 leadership lines. And what I would define, if you read my book, Direct Selling Success, and I hope you did, and if you didn't, put that on your list of things to do, where I talk about how you secure a line, where we have enough leaders in a line that line is secure. Even if you stopped working the business tomorrow, that business would continue to grow. Even if literally you got a meteorite landed on your head and killed you next week, your family, who you willed the business to, we could come back 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they still would be receiving that residual income from the business because you secured the lines, right? We keep going down in depth, developing leadership, using the taproot principle. We go down to the bottom of the line and we build from the bottom up. We teach people the foundational skill sets, 5 skills right away. Product knowledge, how to meet people, how to work a candidate list, inviting, and follow-up, right? We want everybody to be proficient in those 5 areas as quickly as possible. And then we're looking for sifting through, looking for the leaders to develop. And as we see the potential leaders, we go down and we work with them. And we're working on people skills, conflict resolution, leadership skills. Those 5 chapters at the end of my Direct Selling Success book, right? The 5 additional, the bonus chapters I put for leadership. That's the kind of stuff you're working with them on. So you're creating leaders where at some point, somebody in that line is going to take it away from you. Right? You're just going down in depth and you're rotating the pattern as you train people, meeting people, working the candidate list through those 5 things. And you're just going down, trying to help them get 10 levels deep as quickly as possible. And somewhere along the way, though, you're just going to go down and there's just somebody to say, hey, I got this. They're not calling, because when it starts, they're chasing you, right? We want to start everybody who gets going. We want to get at least 2-3 lines chasing you. So they're like, hey, Hans, we got things great going here in Oslo, but I got some key people in Sweden and they're really running with this thing. And I need your help. Can you zoom in once a month but at some point they stop chasing you because there's enough leaders in that line that it goes, the day-to-day building of the group happens without you. And I'm going to suggest you want to keep building strong until you have at least 8 secure lines. And when you have that, you have a multi-million euro business that just becomes a self-sustaining entity and creates freedom and security and a glorious lifestyle for as long as you wish. And then the business is transferable to your children or your grandchildren. that's the tantalizing opportunity at the end of the rainbow if you choose to make this a full-time career. So I hope you've really evaluated the possibilities with this, and that you have chosen to do that with Encino. Peace.